Hello, I'm Julian Bright of Informa. We're here at the LTE World Summit in Berlin, and I'm with Steve Shaw, VP of Marketing at Kineto Wireless.
Hi, Julian.
Hi, Steve. Steve, I think your primary reason for being here this week is because of Kineto's involvement in the Volga Forum. Now, could you tell us a little bit about what the Volga Forum is all about and what the technology play is behind that, or the organization?
Certainly. Well, Volga stands for Voice over LTE via Generic Access. It's a industry forum that's looking to use the existing 3GPP GAN specification to help mobile operators bring voice and SMS services over LTE. I think we've heard some discussion today about how there's a problem with LTE and that voice was not originally spec'd in from the original existing infrastructure. So how can mobile operators overcome that problem? And Volga looks to solve that problem through using existing standards and trying to bring a new path forward so that operators can make voice and SMS services available from day one with their LTE deployments.
Kineto is well known as a champion of UMA. How does UMA fit with this concept of voice over LTE?
You know, it's funny, certainly as Kineto was getting started, we were very focused on the dual mode handset side of the marketplace and cellular and Wi-Fi. But as we took a step back and looked at the technology, the real value in UMA is helping a mobile operator take their revenue-generating services, voice and SMS, and put them out over an IP network. Today, that's traditionally been the fixed network through technologies like dual-mode phones and femtocells and using DSL and cable modems. But what LTE provides or offers to the mobile community is essentially a mobile internet. So we can easily apply the same principles and technology that we do for the FMC side of the market with UMA into the fixed or into a mobile internet environment through something like a Volga technology.
We've heard that there are other approaches to carrying voice over LTE, even at this early stage. Circuit switch fallback is one option. What does the technology you're proposing offer that perhaps some of these alternatives don't?
Well, CS fallback, as it states, implies that if you get a voice call when you're on the LTE network, you fall back to 2 or 3G. And is that really a voice over LTE approach? It really isn't. I mean, you're essentially pushing all of the value and the benefit of LTE away if you have a voice call in place or you're interested in making a voice call. So services like Rich Communication Suite, RCS, which is a combinational service blending voice and data services together. If you're going to fall back off of the LTE network back to 3G or even to 2G, you lose a lot of the value there. Interesting, one of the presentations just now was a gentleman from Qualcomm who was talking about a lack of fast data handover between the LTE network and the HSPA network or even the UMTS network. And so that lack of fast data handover means you're going to lose whatever data session you were involved with as you fall back. And then there's just the mechanics of changing networks as a call comes in. So there's an added post-dial delay. You're ready to make a phone call, the phone needs to reacquire onto a different network to make that call, additional delay. And frankly, that's where call drops happen, is when you're moving between networks. So we think, the technology hasn't been prototyped yet, so it's hard to really tell how it'll perform. But looking at it from this perspective, it looks like there's going to be some real challenges in bringing a commercial, viable CS fallback solution to market.
Okay. Are you hopeful of having your technology adopted as part of the standards process for LTE?
I think for Volga to take off, it must be a recognized 3GPP standard. Certainly, CS fallback is already available in Release 8, so that's why I think it's a de facto part of the discussion today. But I think what we're hearing from the mobile community is CS fallback isn't sufficient, and there's a third way. There's something between the immediacy of CS fallback, which people believe, and the longer-term IMS solution where I actually get native voice over LTE, and that's what Volga means to solve.
There was a certain amount of concern in the presentations we've heard this morning about some fragmentation in this area, and that because there are a number of options available. How do you think the industry can really pull together and arrive at a single solution?
Well, interestingly enough, in the standards body, and don't grill me too much on this, it's not my area of expertise, but when I was talking to our standards guy, the interoperability between CS fallback and IMS, the two agreed upon approaches, still hasn't been nailed out in the standards organization. So that's something that the standards body is starting to take forward and look at how these two approaches work together. So I think that element of fragmentation and complexity that comes up is something that the organizations will look at, even for the baseline cases. And I think folding in Volga as an option for CS fallback, I mean, really, you're going to have two choices. You're going to have a CS fallback choice and an IMS choice, and I think we'll be able to narrow it down pretty quickly from there.
Okay. I mean, longer term, you would accept that IMS is the best way to go. Is that sort of somewhere beyond where this technology will take us, there's an IMS option that most operators will select ultimately.
I think that's the end goal for most operators, is to move to the converged network and the vision of IMS. I think there's a lot of challenges, undoubtedly. I think there's still a lot of specification work that needs to be done. I think in the current economic condition, you're going to face a lot of issues as well. Certainly, when operators take a look at the declining voice revenues that they have, and how much more do they want to invest in a new voice core to support essentially lower and lower revenue per minute on the voice side. And I think the gentleman from Ericsson, Mr. Evelson, this morning made an interesting comment. He said, we've got IMS and we can support IMS voice in 2011, actually. But then he also made the comment that he thinks that as an industry we've significantly underestimated the amount of work to essentially recreate today's circuit network in IMS. And that while you can make a phone call, there's still going to be a lot of additional services like 911, emergency calling, directory services, voicemail, all those things that we sort of take for granted that wrap around a traditional voice service. I think it's going to take a long time to get all of those nailed down, specifically in an IMS environment.
Okay, Steve Shaw, thank you very much.
Thank you.